clarity, self-care, healing, enlightenment,
peace, calmness,
tranquility,
acceptance,
inspiration.
Spirituality to me probably means finding something inside of yourself that isn't particularly related to what's actually going on at the time, just a quiet inner self.
I think when somebody's living with cancer, it's often a time for people to reflect on what is the meaning and purpose for them, how is that changed as a result of their illness, and spiritual well-being is that whole area that looks to see how can we support that well so that they can stay connected to who they are in the middle of what's happened to them, how they can work with the feelings, the thoughts, the fears maybe.
You're hit with the bombshell of the diagnosis. You're so busy getting through the treatment and you're in that flight or fight mode.
It was a shock. It's like you're sidelined down a road that I'd never encountered before.
My hope is in the course of the day, we're going to think about what gives us meaning, what gives us purpose in life. And I've got a variety of different activities that will help us just focus that.
I was nervous before I came to the workshop because I think the word spirituality can be off-putting, or maybe you just think that it's about religion.
I always talk about cracking it open and getting beyond the religious and helping people understand it's much, much more than that. So we're going to have a look at where are you now?
We did an exercise, the map of meaning, and the first step was to stand where you feel you are at the moment. And I was torn between several places, but picked the place that I felt most matched where I am, which was concern for others.
It asks us to explore that constant tension we live with between our ideals, what we would like, and the realities of circumstance that we find ourselves in.
We were asked to move to the place where we would like to be.
Just have a talk about why you ended up there.
I realised that I need to think about me as well, some of the time. And then, because I'm thinking about me some of the time, I can help others better.
I'd moved from the area which was about discovering yourself, I think, and I was moving into expressing myself.
Love it.
It was interesting to take the time or take a pause to think about where I was in relation to other people and in relation to myself.
I feel the need to stop.
The need is beginning to emerge.
For me, where I want to be is to feel at home in my skin. I don't need the sanction of other people. I can just be the person I am. And believe it or not, that was a realization that I hadn't made before as well.
The second activity that we took part in, finding words that signified desolation and consolation. There were some words that Susan sort of brought to the table, and then we were all allowed to add our own. At first, no one really wanted to do it, and then suddenly, as one word came, others followed very quickly, and everyone could identify with them. Some were positive, some were negative. Some were bridges between the two.
There's all sorts of ways you can think about it. What do you dig into that helps you bridge the gap to a place of consolation?
I love words, so I thought it was interesting, and we tended to kind of feed off each other. Somebody would come up with an idea that would trigger ideas in somebody else, and it was actually quite an exciting section in the whole workshop. That tranquility.
There we go.
Inspiration, creativity, communication and connection.
Inner peace.
Calmness.
Still.
When people ask if I'm spiritual, I do kind of balk at that word, I think because it has connotations. But I do feel that we're connected in ways that we don't really understand, perhaps.
I invite people to make a collage and to explore their timeline and their experience of life and look at the points of desolation, the points of consolation, what was happening and what did they dig into.
My favourite part of the workshop was actually the collage, We sat together as a group and we helped each other out. We let each other know what we were looking for in these things that we were cutting up and sticking on the paper.
With the pair of scissors, and sometimes I'd just tear the whole page out. And I was absolutely gobsmacked to find that the final piece actually represented all my angst and my gremlins that come out to haunt me.
For me, trying to tell my life in an hour with a few pictures was quite tricky. There's a lot of clutter in my head still. I think whether or not that's the treatment or whether or not it's just generally I'm trying to come to terms with it all. But I definitely feel I need more clarity, and these workshops are definitely helping in that respect.
I did have a moment where I had a major realisation and just doubled up and started crying, to be honest.
Many people are living with some fairly emotional stuff. You know, life has been turned upside down by what's happening to them, and emotions are heightened. So we shouldn't be frightened of them, but it's actually about holding them in the right way and enabling people to experience them, but support them with that. I see emotion and tears as a gift.
Early on in the day, when I said that I was very anxious, somebody said, "What's the worst thing that could happen?" And I believe I replied, "I might cry." And in fact, I did cry. And that was perhaps the most helpful part of the whole experience, just to relax, let things go, and let your body and your emotions take over for just a little while.
It was as if something, at the end, she was so open and you could just see this huge weight had kind of lifted from her, which was wonderful because obviously it is a safe environment for everyone to open up, and you just know that it will go no further.
We work with people of all different faiths and life philosophies, and my department is very much attentive to that, and we work where the person is.
Susan ran it in a way that she just seemed to have the knack of making everybody feel welcome and part of the process.
Yeah, she's the coolest religious person I know.
It's a spiritual journey and work for me as well, doing these sorts of things, because it is a fabulous opportunity to know that people have been facilitated to find themselves in a new way and hopefully go out with a sense of, yeah, I can take that learning and I can take that into the next step of whatever it is that I'm going out to face now.
Just being with people that have gone through that experience can really be so comforting and rewarding and just draw things out of you that you didn't even know.
It's important work you're doing here.
Come. It's definitely not about religion. You will learn things about yourself and you will learn things for yourself, and to find some inner peace and, well, I hope make your life better.
I think everyone just felt it was such a positive experience.